I'm Sam Peterson, the author of 2 books, Trunky Transgender Junkie and Sugar, a Memoir of Craving. I'm an old gay trans man with bad teeth, and I love knives. And I'm not here to rate them or tell you about the newest, the fastest, the bestest, the kapowest. I'm here to queerly share my queer love of knives with you. It's spring, and therefore there has been an abundance of knives. So many knives, so many knives. I'm such a lucky guy. I managed to sell another handful of blades, a batch of blades I was bored with and didn't vibe with, like the Asher Twill in Twill Carbon Fiber. Why do I always say carbon fiber? Carbon fiber in S90V. Great knife, but with so many great ones to pick from now, it just fell a little short. So I caught and released the Asher, and I sold my Militaw to get a Militaw. We'll talk about that in a minute. I want to talk about a couple of exes I'm hooking up with, and a new love, which by the looks of her is a Scorpio. Scorpios are loyal to a fault, but if you cross them, if they feel hurt, they will not hesitate to cut you. It's spring, as mentioned, and in spring, we like Ultem. Spring reminds me of peeing outdoors, and so does Ultem. The thing that came to me is the glorious Kaiser Militaw in Ultem inserts. Yes, ma'am, sir. Take a look at that, buddy. I legit think that the Militaw is Kaiser's best blade. Hands down. The shape is unusual for sure, but then so is mine, so we've got a match. It's blocky, I'm blocky. The Militaw is such a bloody great knife. Look at the beauty. This clip point, or clip point wannabe, this drop point, is just stunning. This is the kind of blade shape that makes the knife boys talk of geometry. It's perfection. Aesthetically, it's one of my absolute favorites. The handle's great for putting your thumb like so. And that ends up being quite comfortable for a rectangle with a chunk taken out of it. I let my first Militaw go purely to buy new knives. So for an ex, we didn't break up for any reason. The relationship had just run its course. It happens. And then, as fate would have it, another ex showed up for a little reunion. And that is the MKM Maximo. Kapow! Pew, pew! Yes, the MKM Maximo. This is not a knife I would generally associate with, and let me tell you why. It's too tactical, and it's too big. But when I got it the first time, which was on a whim, it was selling for really cheap, I fell in love with it. It's solid, it's heavy, it's a reliable build, and it's tough as nails with a brutally sharp and thick blade pushing out that just made me swoon, despite myself. Sometimes opposites attract, you know? Like that hot girl or boy that you took to bed only to discover after a super good time that their political views in no way align with yours, which is usually a boner killer. But somehow, it just makes it more like illicit and horny. That's the Maximo. It's one sexy beast. It's such a tank, I can't honestly say I'd even recommend it to someone. I just dig the masculinity of it. The bushness. The color was cheap on Caviso. Open box kind of thing, so the price was right. Otherwise, unless you like tank-built tactical blades that remind you of those weirdos with all the military gear that ride around on bicycles, no, that went too far. It's a sexy military beast, enough said. A new love swept into my heart around the same time, one that took my breath away. And that is the Mr. Phantom. I was curious about this brand, which seems like it's either an 80s pop band or a beard care product. The Phantom is a pretty boutique blade, I feel. They definitely have a boutique-y vibe. It is a gorgeous black stonewashed titanium. Perhaps my favorite out-of-the-box look for a knife. I love this black. It's so great. And the blade itself is just evil. It is a wicked little motherfucker. The blade edge is straight, but also cants downward. I don't know if you can tell that subtly, making it seem like it can't wait to fuck somebody up, or let's say to fuck something up. It's a smaller knife, but it brings a lot of attitude to the table. I like it a lot. The detent is pretty strong, which I appreciate on a sharp knife like this. It's also a little slick, but because it's so little and the detent is so powerful, I don't fear that it will come flying out of my hand into the ether. I've already lost a little bit of knuckle that way, and gods only know what part of my body this thing would remove. Do I love the blade shape? Nah, it's too angular. Only a mother could love something this mean. But I appreciate the commitment. I'll be curious to see what else Mr. comes out with that I can afford. Because this is really a beautiful little knife. It's a good size for me because, as I've mentioned, I'm a teeny tiny little man that doesn't really need larger knives. I just like larger knives. Does size matter? You bet it does. But I'm trying to figure out where. I mean, for me, I just use the tip for cutting plastic open or cutting something in two pieces. And I use the length of the blade to, you know, do the usual carving of cardboard and whatnot, or my knuckle or whatever. So if that's the case, and I'm really only using just so much blade edge, do I really need more than a couple inches? Is that heretical? I'm only asking for a friend. Excuse me, I'll be right back now. I'll see you next week, friend. I love you. Enjoy the sunshine. Fall in love with something new. Bye. All right, let's get this thing rolling. I got this from OK Knives. This little hank. I thought it was going to be an actual handkerchief because I actually blow my nose on handkerchiefs. Yes, I'm from like the 1800s. But this is just a nice little double-sided handkerchief. Hank. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about.